So before the video starts, I would like to apologize for the bad quality footage on the NES games and Power Fighters, but my capture card is HDMI dependent, and I have the Anniversary Collection for PS2, but not the Legacy Collection for Switch, so yeah. Hello there, and welcome to the first episode of Super Smash History, where we look at the characters' movesets and see where their moves come from. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Mega Man. Released in 1987 on the Famicom and NES, the game, despite being well received for a time, was more of a sleeper hit, which led to the sequel Mega Man 2 being developed in the developer's spare time. Mega Man 2 was a hit and led to more sequels and various sub-series, turning into one of Capcom's biggest franchises. And being heavily associated with Nintendo, he was obviously one of the most exciting characters to Mega Man Smash 4. Where did all his moves come from? That's what we're here to answer. But first, let's take a look at his intro. In the games, Mega Man would always beam down to the stage you chose, and then the stage would start. This was faithfully recreated as his intro animation, and even changed his color for the different ults he has, but we'll get to those in a bit. It's also strangely one of his taunts, and is also in a victory animation where he teleports to the win screen and does the pose from Mega Man 1's title screen. At least the Japanese title screen. The other taunts and victory poses don't seem to reference anything specific, so we'll move on. In the games, your main weapon was the Mega Buster, a solar-powered arm cannon that could fire up to 3 shots before you made its way through the goal screen. This became Mega Man's jab, forward tilt, which moves you while you're firing, and neutral air, which can be a kill move if you shot it at point-blank range. But what about the other moves you could do? In Mega Man 3, you were given the slide. If you pressed down and jump, Mega Man would slide across the stage, allowing him to duck under certain attacks and go through smaller spaces. In Smash, this became his down tilt, and does pretty much the exact same thing. A low-profile move that moves you forward, however, you couldn't attack within the game, aside from a special weapon in Mega Man 5, so that feature seems to be original to Smash. In Mega Man 4, you got an upgrade for the Buster, the Charge Shot. The charge shot is exactly what it sounds like. You hold down the shoot button, and then you would charge up a more powerful shot, and then release the button to fire it. This is Mega Man's forward smash, again doing pretty much the exact same thing as in the games. Big shot of energy that does a lot of damage and knockback, being one of Mega Man's best kill moves. But what about the last move that doesn't use a special weapon? Well, in the second Mega Man arcade game, Mega Man 2 The Power Fighters, if you held up while you had a full charge shot, you would do a different attack. This was the Mega Upper. The Mega Upper was a Shoryuken-like move that was decently powerful and was basically an anti-air move. This move eventually made it into the Marvel vs. Capcom games, and of course made it into Smash as Mega Man's Up Tilt. This is one of those moves that gets strong at the start, but gets a bit weaker as the rest of the move happens. It's also a surprisingly good shield breaker. That's all of Mega Man's non-special weapon moves and all of his tilt attacks, so let's see where his last 2 Smash attacks came from. In Mega Man 3, after defeating the Robot Master Sparkman, you would gain the special weapon, the Spark Shock. The Spark Shock froze enemies in place, but didn't really do any damage, and you couldn't change weapons, so it didn't really have much use. In Smash, it seems to be more so based on the actual Robot Master than the weapon in the game. Mega Man turns his hands into prongs and conducts some electricity through them, just like Sparkman does in his boss battle. In Mega Man 6, the Robot Master Flame Man gave you the weapon, the Flame Blast. The Flame Blast was a mid-range projectile that made the flame pillar where it landed, and this was changed in Smash to adjust the pillar in half, creating 2 on each side to make it his down smash. That's all of his tilt and smash attacks, so let's talk about the dash attack. In Mega Man 3, the Robot Master Top Man would give you the weapon, the Top Spin. The Top Spin was a weapon that could only be used in the air, and was basically a short-range melee weapon that bounced you back when you hit enemies. It is also considered one of the worst weapons in the series. In Smash, the Top Spin is Mega Man's dash attack and slowly moves Mega Man forward while doing multiple hits. Bit of a weird choice to say the least, but okay. Now that we've talked about all of his tilts, his smash attacks, and his dash attack, let's talk about his aerial attacks. In Mega Man 8, the Robot Master Sword Man will give you the weapon, the Flame Sword. The Flame Sword was a melee weapon that could be used in the air and on the ground. Smash, this is Mega Man's forward air. The air version of Flame Sword is of course what the animation is based off of, and in Smash is pretty much the same thing as in the original game. In Mega Man 7, you could fight the Robot Master Slash Man and get the Slash Claw weapon. Slash Claw was another melee weapon that did multiple hits. In Smash, it's Mega Man's back air and hits 3 times before launching the foe away, so pretty much the same thing. In Mega Man 2, you got the Air Shooter from the Robot Master Airman. The Air Shooter was a weapon that shot 3 small tornadoes out from your buster that went no upwards angle. In Smash, it shoots 1 tornado straight upwards that can carry your opponents with it, and is an easy way to get kills. As for the down air, we need to go back to Mega Man 3 with the Robot Master Hardman. He was the one to give you Mega Man's down air, the Hard Knuckle. The Hard Knuckle was a rocket fist that packed a punch but was slow to come out, and you can aim it up and downwards after you shot it. In Smash, it's pretty much the exact same thing, but it's the downward shot that has a meteor effect. Now let's move on to Mega Man's grab. In Mega Man 1, you get the weapon the Super Arm from defeating the Robot Master Gutsman. The Super Arm could pick up certain blocks and throw them at enemies. However, the more famous use for it was the Magnet Beam, a mandatory item that was in a Elect-Man stage behind 2 Guts blocks. In Smash, the Super Arm is Mega Man's grab, of course. The animation is pretty much the same as in the game, back, up, and down throw, original Smash, so I think it's time to move on to some other aesthetics. In the games, Mega Man changed color depending on which weapon he had equipped. His default is his regular blue that was chosen because the NES had more shades of blue than any other color. His second alt has him in the color for items 1, 2, and 3 in Mega Man 2, but it's more remembered for the rush items, but we'll get to those later. His third alt was first used for the Hyper Ball in Mega Man 1, but was also the color for the Leaf Shield in Mega Man 2. The fourth alt was first used for the Metal Blade in Mega Man 2. The fifth alt is the color for the Ice Slasher from Mega Man 1, but was also the color for the Air Shooter. The sixth alt is the color for the Slash Claw. The seventh was the Firestorm in Mega Man 1, but is also the color of the Atomic Fire weapon you get from Heat Man in Mega Man 2. And finally, his eighth alt is the color for the Thunder Beam in Mega Man 1. Next we have his Spot Dodge, which is his damage animation. Okay, when Mega Man loses his stock by getting knocked off the screen, the small orbs that fly out of the blast zone are actually from his death animation in Mega Man games. As for the series icon, it's a gear. Not really the thing that I think of when someone says Mega Man, but okay. Mega Man's boxing ring title is of course the Blue Bomber, but as for where that came from, I found out that it might be from an old Nintendo Power issue. I don't know which, and I'm too lazy to find out, so there you go. Anyway, I think it's time for the B moves. For Mega Man's neutral B, we have to look at the most iconic weapon in Mega Man's long list of them, the Metal Blade. This is the weapon you get from defeating, well, Metal Man. The Metal Blade could fire in all 8 directions at a high rate of fire, which made it the best weapon in the game, and of course it had to be in Mega Man's moveset. In Smash, Mega Man throws a blade in whatever direction you move to stick in after pressing the B button, and can also be picked up like an item if it hits the surface. Now for Mega Man's side B, we have the Crash Bomber. The Crash Bomber was a weapon you got from Crash Man, and the Crash Bomber could stick to surfaces and blow up after a few seconds, and if you shot at an enemy directly, it would blow up on the spot. In Smash, it can stick to your foes and surfaces, and can stick to other players if they move close enough, and then it blows up after a bit. Next, for the down B, we have the Leaf Shield. The Leaf Shield is the weapon you got from Woodman, and can keep you safe from projectiles, but it's shot whenever you moved. In Smash, it's pretty much the same thing, but you can hold down the B button to keep the shield on you for a bit, and the shield can hit your foes while it's up. And finally, we have the up B. In Mega Man 3, we're introduced to Rush, Mega Man's dog companion who will replace the items from the second game, but we're only interested in one of them. The Rush Coil. The Rush Coil could bounce you up if you jumped on him, and in Smash, he can bounce you up and does not send you into freefall, and can be bounced on after you use the up B. And that's pretty much it, but we still have one more thing to talk about before we get to the final Smash, that being the custom moves from the Smash Bros. 4. For the custom neutral Bs, the first one we have is the Hyper Bomb from Mega Man 1. The Hyper Bomb is a weapon you got from Bomb Man, and you throw it out and it would take a second to blow up, but it could not explode on impact with enemies. In Smash 4, I'm guessing that explodes on impact, but I don't know for sure as I don't have Smash 4. For the second alternate neutral B, we have the Shadow Blade. The Shadow Blade was the weapon you got from Shadow Man. It was pretty much the Metal Blade, but was more of a boomerang weapon. In Smash, it's pretty much the same weapon as in the game, so I think we should move on to the side Bs now. The first alternate side B from Mega Man was the Danger Wrap. The Danger Wrap is the weapon you get from Burst Man, sending out a bubble that can capture small enemies and explode once you push it into a wall. In Smash, the weapon goes in an upwards angle and explodes on impact with an opponent. Not really much to say here, so let's move on. The second alternate side B is the Ice Slasher. The Ice Slasher was a weapon you get from Iceman, and it would freeze an enemy in place, and you could change weapons while the enemy is frozen. In Smash, it does ice damage, of course, but it can also freeze your opponents. Nothing left to say, so let's move on to the down Bs. The first one is the Skull Barrier. The Skull Barrier was the weapon you get from Skullman. It could protect you from one projectile and could not be thrown. Same goes for the other down B, the Plant Barrier. The Plant Barrier is pretty much the same thing as the Skull Barrier, and I don't really know how they work in Smash 4, so let's just move on to the up Bs. In Mega Man 5, you could collect letters in every stage, and once you got all of them, you would get B. B would follow you and attack enemies as they came on screen. However, he seems to be more based off of his use in Mega Man 7. In that game, B would save you from falling into the bottomless pits, and in Smash, B carries Mega Man upwards and you can't attack out of the recovery. In Mega Man 8, the Robo Master Tengu Man would give you the Tornado Hold. The Tornado Hold is a weapon that made a big pillar of wind and can carry Mega Man upwards if you stepped in it. In Smash 4, the weapon carries you upwards and maybe damages enemies, but I don't know. That's all the custom moves, so how about we move on to the final Smash finally. In Mega Man 9, the Robo Master Galaxy Man would give you the Black Hole Bomb. The only weapon used 3 words. It would suck up smaller enemies and projectiles, and you can name it upwards and downwards. This definitely seems to be what the black hole from the final Smash is based on, but what about the other part? The other characters that show up are the Mega Men from the other sub-series of Mega Man. X from the Mega Man X series, Volna from the Mega Man Legends series, Mega Man EXE from the Mega Man Battle Network series, and Geostellar from the Mega Man Star Force series. And in Ultimate, Proto Man and Bass were added. Proto Man was first seen in Mega Man 3, and Bass was first seen in Mega Man 7. Not really much to say about this, it's just awesome. And that's Mega Man. I hope you enjoyed, and do tell me what I can improve, and I'll see you in whatever video I make next. I'll see y'all later. Goodbye.